Hello, and for Movement with AARP Alabama. I am your host, Margie Curry, and today's session again is with our wonderful certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello. She has been practicing and teaching yoga for more than 20 years. We want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP Alabama is committed to offering opportunities for you to stay engaged from your home. The Mindful Movement series of AARP provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Hi, Becca.
Good
What you
morning.
got going for us for today?
Well, today we're going to do one of our all-around practices. We're going to make sure we hit all the major areas of the body. We're going to get everything moving. There's going to be some challenge and some ways that you can change it up to make it the right level for you, such as going down to the floor or staying in the chair. And then, of course, we'll always do a little bit of resting, breathing, relaxation at the end.
Oh, good. Sounds good. But remember, everybody, before you begin any exercise routine, make sure that you check with your physician. Things change, you never know. So keep in touch with your physician to see if it is safe for you to participate from your home. All right, Becca, let's get started.
All right, well, let's get going with some mindful yoga and breathing today. So like I said, we're going to use our chair as we always do. The chair just gives us lots of options, right? It means we don't have to get down to the floor if we don't want to, or if it's just difficult for us. It also means that we just have different choices we can make about whether we're holding on when we do some of our standing work. So any kind of folding chair or a kitchen chair or a dining room chair, those tend to work well. So let's start by sitting tall. I got my feet planted firmly on the ground. I'm sitting with a spine upright all the way through the crown of the head. Now, for this first couple of moments, if you want to close your eyes, you could try that, right? It's an option. It's going to help you bring your awareness and your attention more into your body. When our eyes are open, we're really, subconsciously or consciously, we're really distracted by the things in our vision a lot of that time. So anytime you have the opportunity, and you can safely close your eyes and bring your awareness to your body and your breath, that's just a good change of pace for your nervous system. That's a real kind of quick and, surefire way to bring a little bit more of a ease or relaxation into the nervous system. So go ahead and close your eyes if you can. Bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. And I like us to make this contact with our bodies, one, so that we can, kind of feel grounded in our body. We can actually feel the physical form of our body. And with our hands here on our belly and our heart, we can really feel our breath movement. So start to take deeper breaths in if you can. Feel that hand on your chest, maybe lift a little bit. Maybe the hand on the belly moves out as you inhale. You're taking a deep, full breath, but not forced, right? So no straining. Just take the fullest, deepest breath you can easily take. Exhale it slowly out. Three more breaths like this. Feel the breath moving in your body. Make that contact with your own body through your touch. One more breath here. All right, then just let those hands fall down to your lap. We're going to do a little warm-up. We're going to run through all the major joints of the body with some movement to get them loosened up and just get our brain connected to them. So let's start with the head and neck. Turn the head side to side or right and left. Now, next time you take that chin over towards one shoulder, pause, and then bring it down and across the chest until that chin is over at the other shoulder, and then bring it back down and across the chest. And let's just make this semicircle a couple more times, back and forth. Two more. And then bring that head up on top of the shoulders, and then move those shoulders next. Shoulder rolls. Bring the shoulders forward, up towards the ears, and then draw them back and down. Forward and up, back and down. This is a great place to take some deep breaths. Inhale up. Exhale, let those shoulders go down. Two more. Good. Now let's try to make this a little bit bigger. All along the way, you could go back to a previous version if you don't like the next option. All right. So the first difference will be elbow circle. So I've got my hands just kind of touching my shoulders, and I'm sweeping those elbows in a nice big circle, trying to bring them forward and toward each other, out to the sides, back and down. If you prefer the shoulder rolls to this, you could go back to just shoulders with your arms hanging down. All right, now the next version is going to be full arm circles. So taking that arm extended and circling it forward and up, around, back and down. So again, you can stick with the elbow circles or go back to the shoulder rolls. This gets those arms, shoulders moving a little bit more. Let's do 3 more arm circles. Good. All right, now we're moving down to the rib cage. So the rib cage, I'm just pointing to mine so you kind of give you awareness of what we're talking about. So from the waist kind of up to the armpits, I want you to see if you can circle your rib cage around. All right, so this may be a little bit awkward. Maybe you've never really tried to move specifically your rib cage in any particular direction. But remember, even if it feels like aren't doing it really well, or you think, I'm not doing this right, if that's not true. Any attempt is going to help your brain, right? Let's go the other direction. So even if these rib circles are really foreign to you, that's something you haven't ever done with your body, just attempting, bringing your, awareness and your brain into your body is a great thing, right? It's really good for your nervous system and its connection to your body. And eventually you'll get better at making circles with your rib cage if you practice it. All right, bring it back to center. Now we move down to our pelvis. So this is what you're sitting on. And we're going to try to circle our pelvis. Now, again, maybe this doesn't feel much different than doing those rib circles, but I'm focusing my awareness on my sitting bones, rolling to one, and then towards the front, and over to the other, and towards the back. I'm really trying to pay attention to the weight shifting I'm doing on the bones in my pelvis. Let's go the other direction. So again, don't worry about whether you're doing it right. There's not a right or wrong. You're just trying to get connected to, get aware of, and move this part of your body. Last few circles for the pelvis. Our ribs are still moving, you may have noticed. So it's kind of a rib and a pelvic circle. Back to center. All right, good. Now let's move on down to warm up some of the hips and the legs. Let's start with a marching. So one knee lifting up as high as you can comfortably lift it. It may seem like this is an easy one, and it is easy for some, but for some folks it's maybe actually a hard one because maybe there's some tightness in those hips or some weakness, right? Lifting them in this position may be more challenging than you realize. All right, let's try to add a little to this. If you want to stick with here, that's fine, or you can add a step out to the side, up and out with that leg, and then up and back in. Imagine that you're lifting it over something. Imagine like a box sitting there or a small trash can, and you've got to lift that leg, up and over. This is often what we have to do to get in and out of the car. Good. Let's do a couple more, about 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now we'll move down for the lower legs, the knee joint first, and then we'll get to the ankles. So one leg, bend and straighten, pay attention, put your awareness into that knee joint, feel its movement. Maybe you're also noticing some creaks or cracks. Good, let's switch it out to the other leg, bend and straighten. How does this knee compare to the first knee? Maybe it feels quite similar. You don't notice any difference, or maybe there's something different about it. All right, now let's go back to that first leg. Pick that foot up and circle the ankle. Nice big slow circles, and put your eyes on it, right? So we've got our eyes open now, but if we make sure that what we're putting into our vision really helps us connect to our body and our movement, that's a great benefit, right? Go the other direction. Watch that foot and ankle as it circles. All right, and then let's switch sides. Other foot up, circle. Go the other way. Good, and then release that foot down. Now, let's go to our wrists. Now, we did our shoulders and our arms, but let's just take some slow, big circles of the wrists. Go the other way. Good, and then make a fist and turn those knuckles down so we get a little stretch on the back of the hand. And then bring those hands up, open up the palms, spread out the fingers, and push forward like you're pushing against a wall with the heel of your hand. And then make that fist, curl the knuckles down, open them up, spread those fingers, push out through the heel of the hand. One more time, make the fist, curl it down, come up and open. Good, and then shake out those hands. All right, let's go ahead and move into standing. Now that we've moved the body, we've moved a lot of the places in the body, gotten at least our awareness clued into it, woken them up a little bit. Now, this little sequence you could do from the chair, or you could do down on the ground. So if you prefer, or if for any reason want to do this little, sun salutation sequence type flow from the ground, you can. I'm going to do it from the chair the first time, and then I'll show it from the floor also, and then we'll probably get one more round with it. So you can stay with the chair, or you can go straight to the floor at any time. All right, so we'll stand in front of the seat of the chair if we're using that, and come down so that the hands are on the seat of the chair. Now, if you're down on the ground, you're in hands and knees. And we'll take it through cat. That's a rounded spine. Push into the floor of the chair, tuck the tail, drop the head. And then we go the other way. Lift the head, the chest up, lift the tail up. Let that back go flat, or maybe even a little bit of a sway. All right, and then back and forth. Now let's take some breaths with this. Inhale as you bring your chest up. Exhale as you round it into cat. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. All right, now we'll walk it back into a downward facing dog. So the feet walk back. If you're on your hands and knees, you tuck your toes under and you push your hips up and back. And it looks pretty much the same, except instead of the hands on the chair, the hands are down on the floor. Now let's see if we can just shift a little bit here in our downward dog, bending one knee and straightening the other, back and forth. All right, now we'll step the left foot forward. Now with the chair, it's nice because we have something to hold on to. It helps us keep our balance. You could take your hands from the floor up to your knee if you wanted to be up a little bit higher, or you can stay down on the floor. Another option for everybody is maybe to raise those arms up off the chair or off the leg, right? To be up in a tall lunge. If you want to stay with those hands on the chair because that feels more stable, you could stay there. All right, and then we step it back into downward facing dog again. Now we have the option to take it to plank in between sides. So take it into a straight line position for my body, right? If you're on the ground, you could put your knees down to have a little less load. All right, if you're here on the chair, you could shift the weight a little bit further back towards the feet or a little bit more onto your hands, depending on what feels right for you. Let's take one more breath here. Good strong push. And back into that downward dog again. This time the right foot's going to step forward. If you're doing this from the floor, you could transition to hands and knees and then bring that leg forward. Remember that you can stay with your hands on the chair or on the floor, or you can come to the front thigh, or you can take those arms all the way up. Let's take a couple breaths here. And then release. Let's bring those hands back down. Step it back out into downward facing dog. And then if you're standing, you're going to walk forward with those feet. If you're on the floor, you're just dropping your knees and you're coming back into tabletop. All right. So we're going to do all that again. So either stay here on the chair. As I promised, I'm going to do this second round from the floor so that there's a visual for that if you need it. So we're doing our cat and cow again 3 times. Rounded, flattened or arched. Big inhale. Rounded, flattened or arched. Rounded. And flattened. All right, then downward dog. So either walk the feet back if you're in the chair or tuck those toes and lift the knees, pushing strong with those arms in either position. And give those legs a little walking out. All right, now it's the left foot forward. So again, I could step it right from my dog, or I could come down on my knee first. All right, or maybe I'm staying on the chair. Option to keep the hands low, medium, or all the way up. One more breath here. And then come all the way back down. Remember, you can always go through hands and knees if you're doing the floor version. Back to downward dog. Now we come in for our plank position. So shifting that weight forward onto the hands, getting the body in a straight line. Remember, you could have your knees down if you're here on the floor. Good, one more breath. And then push it back into downward dog. And then it's going to be the right foot forward. I'm going to drop to my knees this time for that transition. Bring that right foot forward, and then I can pick that left knee back up. Option to stay down, hands on the chair or the floor, or try coming up. And then releasing it, hands back down if they were up. And then back to downward dog one more time. And then, walking the feet in. If you're standing, using the chair, or drop the knees down so you're back into your tabletop position. All right, we're going to go through that little sequence one more time. You could stick with the chair or the floor or whatever you've been choosing, or you could try another option. I'm going to go back to the chair for this last round. So hands and knees or tabletop position. Round it. Flatten it. Nice big breaths in and out. Last one. All right, downward dog next. So from the chair, walk the feet back and get the body long, or from the ground, hands and knees, tuck the toes and push the hips up and back. Good. Shift forward to that plank position next. Good. Strong push. Keep breathing. Good. Get the hips and press them back again. Left foot forward. Snuck in an extra plank there. Did y'all see that? And then you decide whether you're staying down or coming up with those arms. And then release. Step it back to that downward dog again. Shift it into plank. Or this time, if you'd like, you can do plank and then back to downward dog and back and forth about 3 more times. If you prefer staying and holding, you can do that. All right, now we take the right foot forward. Take your time, get into position, adjust your feet as needed. Decide if you want to stay with those hands down. Now, they don't have to go overhead either. They could be hands here at the heart, or they could be raised up. All right, and then if those hands are up, bring them back down to the chair or to the floor. Take it back to downward dog one more time. And then either drop to hands and knees or step those feet in. And then we're going to come all the way up. Come all the way up to standing tall. Just take a moment on your 2 feet here for a moment. Check in, see how things feel. Now for this next little bit, you could use the chair as something to hold on to if you need it, okay? So just keep it close by if balance is something you want to be sure, you have a backup plan for. And then let's press to the feet and reach up as tall as you can, or your hands could go on your head. And we're going to take it side to side. Okay, so those arms can be on the head. They can be extended. They can even be at your hips. Again, side to side, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. Drop those arms down. Give the shoulders a couple of rolls. We're actually going to go ahead and sit back down and do a couple of stretches here in the chair. And then we'll end up doing a few moments of relaxation breathing, very similar to what we did at the very beginning, actually. But let's go ahead and sit here and take 1 foot forward. Heel down, toes up, right? If you had some sort of, block or ottoman or something like that, you could put your foot up a little higher, especially if you've got loose hamstrings. You might want to try that. If your hamstrings are pretty tight, then you'll be fine just with your foot on the floor, toes up, lean into it, any amount. Some folks are going to just sit up tall, and that's going to be enough. Other folks may have enough room to lean in a little bit. So we're just looking for stretch down the back of that leg. You should still be able to breathe through that sensation though. All right, so let's take another couple breaths here, stretching out the hamstring muscle, the calf muscle. All right, let's switch it up. Take that other leg forward, toes up. Again, maybe you have that leg elevated. Maybe not. Sit tall. Decide if you've got some room to lean into it. Just go till you feel some of that sensation in the back of the leg change. Stay here with a couple of breaths. Good, and then come back up sitting tall. Now let's see if we can take 1 foot or ankle up to the opposite knee or thigh. Right, that's one choice. Another option is to extend that leg and cross it over, but just below the knee or on the shin or on the ankle, right? So that's a good option if it's hard to get that leg up quite so high. You could also be putting that foot on something like that stool or ottoman or box that I mentioned, right? That's another way of doing that stretch. All right, so again, we sit up nice and tall. That might be enough. Leaning forward with that straight spine is an option you can explore to go a little further with the stretch. Breathe in, breathe out. Maybe you're closing your eyes as you settle into your stretch. Again, feel safe, but if it is, okay for you to close your eyes, that's a good way to turn your attention, your mindfulness, a little more inward to the sensations of the body and the breath. Good. All right, let's switch sides again. So take it to the other leg, and again, maybe it's a crossing on the knee, maybe it's crossing just below the knee, maybe it's crossing somewhere a little further down. Each position, has the potential for some leaning forward. Maybe the higher you have that leg, the more likely you are already sort of at your hips limit, and then there might not be as much room to lean forward. Okay, one more breath. And then take that foot down. Now we're going to just do a little stretching for the arms. Okay, so one arm, help it across your chest. Use the other arm to give it a gentle pull. Sit tall. Try to keep that shoulder, sort of dropping away from your ear if possible. And you can add a little stretch for the neck. I like to take this in and out. I'll tip my head away from the shoulder that I'm stretching. And then bring it back up and just go in and out of that. All right, let's release that arm, give it a little shake. Feel that sensation in it. And then the other arm comes across. Use that hand, or you can sort of hook it with your elbow to help stretch it. Keep the shoulder away from the ear if possible. And then try adding that tilt of the head away from that shoulder that you're stretching. Last two. Okay. And let that arm relax down. Good. Take just a moment to check in. Maybe you want to sit back a little bit more in the chair. Feel your body be supported. Take one hand again to your heart, one hand to your abdomen or your belly. Maybe close your eyes. As you settle in, see if you can consciously soften around the neck and the tops of the shoulders. Relax in that belly. Sometimes we hold a lot of tension in our belly. Just let it be jiggly, let it be loose and poochy, okay? Breathe in a little more deeply. Breathe out a little more slowly. See if you can, connect to feel the breath with your hands. Feel it inside your body. You can bring your awareness to your face, relax your jaw, soften around your eyelids. We got about 3 or 5 more breaths, depending on how fast you breathe. This next exhale, finish up that quiet contact with your breath and your body. Those hands drop down. You can open your eyes, maybe give things one last little movement. Check in. How did it feel today to move your body? what aspects of our practice today were challenging for you. Maybe some things have gotten easier if you're doing this with us on a regular basis. And we do encourage you to return and do this with us every Tuesday morning, Mindful Movement with AARP of Alabama. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks to AARP of Alabama for making this possible.
Thank you so very much, Becca. We enjoyed that session today, and we look forward to everyone joining us again on Tuesdays for Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, Margie. Bye.
Bye.